afternoon. Today is, I don't know, it's January 31st, Tuesday, 2017. This is going to be episode 37. That's a bunch of these, isn't it? Here we are. As usual, a lot of great comments and questions. So, a couple of things that come right to the top of my attention. This was kind of I pulled this from, I kind of touched on it this morning, even before some of the stuff come over. It was just something that was on my mind. So, if you have a question about the way an item looks or the packaging, try to put yourself in the receiver's position. If you bought that item and it showed up and it looked like whatever it looks like, would you be happy? Now, if you look at this because you own it and you're putting yourself in a position like, oh, well, I think it'd be fine. You're saying that because that's your inventory. I personally go, well, I wouldn't be happy with that because apparently I have some weird standard where when I buy something, I expect it to come in. I have an expectation. I expect it to show up packaged nicely and neatly and look appropriate. It's no different whether I was talking about going to a restaurant earlier. You go to a restaurant and your food comes out and it's all just dropped on the plate and it's a mess. You're like, oh my gosh. Are you going to be happy? I wouldn't be happy. So the response is, if your item is new and it is packaged correctly, then it is new. If the outside of the box is a little damaged or dinged up, well, as long as the item inside is not messed up, you might want to let, the customer know how, some way, somehow in the description that, put a little note there. Packaging has a, what if I'm buying that because I think it's collectible? Then the packaging shows up and it's all messed up. So now it's not. Am I buying? You don't know the reason that I'm buying it. So you have to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. And if you're not clear on what you think would be acceptable, because you're in deep with the cost, the inventory, and you're just like, I gotta move it, and that's all you can think of, you gotta take a step back. You gotta take a step back, take a breath. Here we go. Let's look at this from a buyer's perspective. That's how I look at everything we do. It's not about well, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to sell it and everything that happens after that's a bunch of well, it doesn't really work that way. The prospective buyer, as your customer, whether it's Amazon's customer, eBay's customer, whoever's customer, they have an expectation somehow, some way, that this is going to be on par. It is going to be fair. They are getting a fair deal. And they're not getting a fair deal because they're being tricked or rused or misled. That is how you get negative feedback. That is how you get bad comments. That is how you get your account suspended. On to the next question. I didn't bring my notepad. I had to remember all this. That's a stretch for this fine Tuesday afternoon to remember. A comment came over about saving for retirement. Well, I'm going to try to make so much money, it won't be a question. And I think you should try to make so much money, that won't even be a question. There is some rule of thumb that says 20% of your income monthly to be saved. I don't know how that's possible. Because if I was saving 20%, let's say every $1,000 I made at the end of the month, there's $200. I'm supposed to save $200. Well, if I'm going to save $200, that's $200 more of inventory that I could purchase. That would make me exponentially more money. So, all I can say is if you are in a position where you need to save some portion of the extra money you're making, I understand, but it seems like it would be a bigger benefit to you to put that money to work. Because if it's just sitting in the bank drawing, 0.1% or whatever, a bank or however what is your vehicle of investment? See, there's the trick. your vehicle of investment, it's an investment. Invest in yourself. Invest in your inventory. Invest in the growth. Hire a part-time employee to create more listings or put more stuff up on Amazon or ship some stuff for you. $200 is a lot of money, and it can get a lot of work done. And that is a fact. Talking about on the retirement side and the tax side, well, you can count on every $1,000 that you make. Let's just say you're going to be at 25% tax. $250 of every $1,000. That's what you're going to need to pay in tax. You don't have to make a monthly tax deposit or a quarterly tax deposit. There are government regulations and guidelines that say you should, but you don't have to. You just have to be prepared to pay it at the end of the year. I suggest using that extra money that you would be paying in taxes again to do the same thing with, to grow your inventory and grow your sales and grow your business. Because exponentially, that money will grow at a faster rate than it will if it's just sitting there not doing anything. That's pretty obvious. Keep every dime of money working. It's all working. Your inventory is growing. Your sales are growing. Your business is growing. You hire employees. I keep saying the same things over and over, and I sound like a broken record. I'm just like over and over and over, because that's it. That's what it takes. You're worried about saving money for retirement. So you started today with $500 and you bought $500 worth of inventory. Okay, so we're going to make dollar for dollar. And let's say we're going to make dollar for dollar every 30 days. So every 30 days, in the first 30 days, your $500 makes $500. Now we're starting the next 30 days with $1,000. And you're going to work to double your money every month. When you do not need to live off that money. If that money is paying your bills, don't do that to yourself. If you have extra money and you're going to start working, there is a point where you will not be able to double your money anymore. Right? Not by yourself. And that's when then some of that money needs to be reinvested into employees and maybe a building and a bookkeeper and a shipping person, and you're going to be buying packaging materials and office supplies and so on and so forth. But for now, you can make yourself an extra couple $1,000 a month easily, working on it part-time. That's everybody's goal. Everybody wants to make a little bit of extra money. Then you start making a little bit of extra money, and you're like, well, with a little bit more time and a lot more effort and a little bit more money, this will get even bigger. It'll get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what you want. We need it. We need it to get bigger, right? My camera's doing a bunch of shaking today. I'm trying to hold it. I don't know what's going on. So quarterly tax deposits, use that money and make sure you've got the money at the end of the year when it's time. You can use all that money, $250 a month, another $2,000 or $3,000, to buy more stuff and make more money that you'll have to pay more taxes on. That's just the nature of the business. Everything that we do requires it to get much, much bigger for it to make sense. You can keep making $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, and you pay your taxes and you can save a little money, but you want it to grow. You want to get to where you're making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Then you're in the upper percentages of making $280,000, $300,000 a year with a handful of employees in a nice sized building. You just keep buying and you keep selling. And when you're making $200,000 or $300,000 a year, well, I hope you're saving some of it. I hope you're not living on all of it. Now, as we've talked before about people's lifestyles have a tendency to scale up, and then it costs more money. My life is no different. As I made more money, everything scaled up around me. Car payments, car insurance, house payments, house insurance, all your bills, everything costs more money. Because, again, as much as I want to believe you're going to go from making a couple $1,000s a month to making $15,000 a month, and your living arrangements aren't going to change. Well, if they don't, I'm extremely excited for you. 20 years ago, I lived in a mobile home on a dirt road, and it was not a nice mobile home, but it's all I had. And I wanted out of there as quickly as possible. And I moved into a small 1,000 square foot house. And it turns out I wanted out of there as quickly as possible. And I moved into a 2,000 square foot house, and then to a 3,500 square foot house, and into a 4,000 square foot house, and into a 6,000 square foot house. Do I want to move into an 8 or 9 or 10,000 square foot? Yes. Yes, I do. I would love more than anything to make enough money to go to that next level. The next level? Listen, if you guys don't know how much a house costs that's that size, well, I'll say it. $1.5 million, $2 million. To get into a 10,000 square foot house is no easy accomplishment. And that's what it takes. Do I want to have a few more cars and a bigger garage? Absolutely. I like those things. Maybe I'd like to have all kind of different furniture, new or expensive stuff, or whatever it may be. It all takes money. And you have to start somewhere. Worrying about whether you're going to save money for retirement, because honestly, you could start buying and reselling and all kind of stuff can happen. It'd stop you from buying and selling. What if your thrift store, wherever you were buying from, what if they went out of business? You're out of business. Worrying about trying to save a few $100s for the failure of your sourcing or your purchasing or wherever the material's coming from. You're living in fear. Fear of taxes, fear of failure. Courage is what it takes to be successful. You have to have the courage and believe in yourself. If you already can go and buy 10 things and resell them and make money, what difference does it make whether it's 10 or 100 or 1,000? You have the courage to do it. I'm not sure why the fear would hold you back. I don't understand. What is going on? What? I'm losing all my camera's going crazy here. I don't know what's going on. So again, don't let the fear hold you back. If you had the courage to do it the first time, keep doing it. This was Drive Time, and I'm just Dave the driver. What do I know? I'll see you soon.